Hey everybody, welcome back to Hoosier Ho. Hey, before we go any further, you guys make sure you hit the like button and share this with your friends. As you can see, I'm back out here in the cornfield again. If you watched my video that I put out there the other day, you've seen I was out here doing some weeding in preparation for our new concept, or new to us. It's called the Three Sisters Garden. So, it's getting pretty close to dusk out here, and mosquitoes are going to be out here soon, so I am out here in long clothes, long pants, long shirt, trying not to get eaten alive by the bugs. And also I'm going to be in the middle of this corn in a minute, and I don't want all that all over my skin because it's not very comforting. So what we're doing here is called the Three Sisters Garden, and as you can see, on the outskirts of this side of the garden and actually all the way around, I have planted all kinds of squash plants. This is, I don't know, it's a squash plant, some kind. I've planted acorn squash out here, zucchini, yellow summer squash, and I also have another variety out here that I don't know what it was. It was just some kind of a huge squash that looked interesting, so I planted it. So, why did I plant on the outside of this? The Three Sisters Garden is actually something that was actually invented or developed, I guess you would say, by Native Americans years ago. The three sisters of the garden are the corn, the squash, and beans. And they all work together just like a family to help each other develop. Today in the garden, I'm going to be using my 12-inch hoe, the patio garden hoe, if you will, because I'm going to actually be planting some beans in here today. I'm going to have to be down on the ground or toward the ground planting the actual bean, so it's just going to be easier for me to maneuver with the smaller handle than it would the long handle in the middle of all the garden. So if you follow me, you can see here that I have planted lots of squash all the way around here. They've already started growing, they're already vining, and they're already developing. Now the reason that the squash is on the outside of the garden is because it's very prickly. We kind of discovered this before we started investigating the Three Sisters Garden, because we had a vine garden further up in the field, and we had planted some sweet potatoes in the middle of the garden and just had a lot of vine seeds, pumpkins, and the acorn, zucchini, and we just planted them all the way around it for no particular reason. But we did notice that the deer did not bother those sweet potatoes, and deers are notorious here for eating all of the leaves off of the sweet potatoes, and they did not bother those. And we just kind of discovered on our own that it was because these squash plants are very prickly. If you get down here and look on these stems here, right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, that really close to are little bitty tiny baby stickers. And this pretty much keeps all of the little critters out of here, whether it be squirrels, rabbits, groundhogs, and deers, obviously, because they didn't bother our other garden. And we have them all, let me tell you. They've pretty much wiped out my sweet potatoes before, and if I don't keep them covered up with a net or something around them that's got these stickers on them, I lose them all. So that's my idea here. So if you walk up this way, you can see where they're actually starting to develop the actual squash down there. I've got a couple there. These little corn stalks here are laying here because we actually thinned this out a little bit, just so we would have more room to get in there and more room for things to grow. Now, what we're going to do, the Three Sisters again are the three crops that we plant, and the beans that we're going to plant in here actually provide a ton of nitrogen for the rest of the corn and the squash, so it helps everything grow. The Three Sisters Garden is great for areas where you just don't have enough room to plant a cornfield and a squash garden and a bean patch. I'm just going to put them all in there. Got a bug in my eye. We're going to put them all in there and just see what happens. So the idea, as I can't see, the idea is to have the beans that we plant climb up the corn stalks. So come on up this way. I got a little bare spot here that where one of my squash didn't come up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to train my squash when they start vining to pretty much make a barrier all the way around this entire garden. So right here, this squash right here that has started vining quite a bit. It was kind of going the other way, so pretty much what I did was I just kind of moved the vine a little bit and trying to train it just to go around this way. I've grown this type of squash before, and trust me, it will go everywhere. So I'm just going to guide it. I'm going to guide it to where I want it to go. So I'm hoping that this will work. So if you come on in this way, I'm going to plant a couple. Now I don't have a whole lot of pole beans. We went to the garden center today to get some more, and they were completely out of pole beans. So these are from last year. So I'm going to plant these, and I'm going to plant 2 beans per stalk, 1 on each side. That way they germinate each other. And what will happen is they will just climb all the way up these stalks, hopefully. And then when they're done and ready to pick, we can just come in here, and I guess we would probably pick the corn first, depending on what's done first. And then even after the corn is picked, those stalks will stay sturdy, and those beans can continue to climb if they're not ready yet. So I'm going to plant in the middle just so that I can try to stay away from the edge, just in case a deer was to reach over the top of those squash plants. I'm sure they won't, but just in case. So I'm going to start here. Actually, back up. Let's start right here. I'm going to come down here, and again, using the small hoe, just because I know I'm going to get down here and I'm going to have to put the beans in the ground. So if I had my long-handled hoe here, I would probably be on my rear end because I would have fell over by now. But I'm just going to loosen this dirt around it without disturbing that stalk. And I'm going to plant me a couple of beans here. I want them fairly close to the stalk because when they come up, I don't want to have to come in here and train these very often. I just want them to climb right up the stalk. So there we go. I'm just going to put them in there. I'm going to pat them down pretty good because I want to make sure that that soil has good contact with that seed. All right. Same thing here. 1 on each side. And I'm hoping it rains soon. That way I can not have to water too much. So 1 on each side. Pat it down. You can use your hoe just to pat that down if you want. I'm going to do the same thing right over here. So when I want to plant in my next row, I'm going to put 1 on each side. Full of weeds as you are in here if you want. 1 over here, 1 here. There and there. Pat it down. And again, last year we did not do the Three Sisters garden. We just had corn out here. And didn't have the squash around it or anything, and we had squirrels like crazy in here. So we basically fed the squirrels. We tried to live trap some of them, but we finally just gave up and let them have their way. So they had a lot of corn. So we're hoping this is going to work. Again, later in the season we'll be out here. We'll let you see how it looks as we go on, and we'll get in here and show you these beans coming up and show them climbing up the stalks. So again, I'm going to finish up here because it's starting to get dark. You guys remember to hit that like button again and share it with your friends. We will see you soon. Take care.